I want to introduce my wonderful daughter, Christy Kraus. She has been a member of Branches off and on for all her life. She started here when we dedicated her as a baby in our arms. We came to Branches, and that was the front, and that was the stage, and that's where we dedicated Christy's life to the Lord. And she has dedicated it on her own, her whole life too. And so I'm very proud of her. I'd like to, a terrible memory for numbers. So, Christy, how many countries are you teaching teachers in right now?
Well, with people attending classes, about 30, and people downloading our curriculum, about 60 countries.
And how many downloads? I mean, I want to know how many kids are affected by you in the world.
So with our curriculum and our whole team, right, we just passed 11 million downloads.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. And that is a download for one teacher. And so that will be presented in these 60 countries to maybe, I've seen some with 100 kids in front of the teacher, and I've seen some with 3, 4, 5 kids, little tiny groups that are meet under a tree or in the street. But that's the number of kids that are getting training from this lady. And she started a coaching program for leadership. Like I need a coach. I need help. I don't have to tell you that. They know that. They've been watching me for a year. They know I need help. And we're actually looking for a replacement for me that I would love to disciple in to take my job so I could join the knitting and crocheting group, and I would have time to do what retired ladies might have time to do. So we're looking for that. But how many coaches? Tell me about your coaching program.
Yeah, so our first 6-month coaching program, we had about 1,100 leaders, and then the next one we had 600, and then we took a level 2 special for just children's pastors, and we had 230. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah, so they're all doing a special camp this upcoming to finish. It's kind of like a thesis project for the coaching program. They have to do an event in their churches, so we're excited about those 230 churches doing an event this now before January to get their diploma.
How often do those teachers how often do they have homework or assignments, or what are the expectations in this program? How hard do they have to work?
It's a class once a week with a homework assignment once a week that they turn in, and it's 10 weeks each course, and there's 3 courses.
And we get her here to teach us today. Yay, thank you, Lord. Let's clap for Christy.
Thank you, Mom. What a joy to be with you guys here. Please feel free to grab more food and get lunch rolling there. I don't know if you've ever experienced these painful moments. I remember stepping into the auditorium where I was supposed to be the speaker and looking at a sea of 400 kiddos looking at me. I had to fill 2 full hours. And I was supposed to be there for teacher training. So, right, I show up, and I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I'm in India, state of Tamil Nadu. And we arrive at this location. They say, okay, first we're going to have tea, right? Because in India, right, you sit down. It's like a full meal. You got to eat with your right hand I'm getting hot, sweaty, curry on my hand. It's just gross. And we're sitting there having this meeting, and I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to train teachers. I thought I was doing something like we're doing today there. And they go, yeah, the kids are waiting. I'm like, the kids? No, I'm here for the teachers of the kids. You guys have your regular programming. No, we stopped all our regular programming for you. Praise the Lord. And so this is like, one of those nightmares where you imagine yourself naked and speaking, right? You fall asleep and you're like, one of those things. I step into this auditorium, sea of 400 cute little brown faces going, look at the foreigner. And I'm like, how am I going to fill 2 full hours? My brain's scrambling, right? Because I had teacher training stuff ready, not kids stuff ready. So I'm like, okay. Song, game, activity, story, examples from drama. Yeah, the drama, that'll take time, right? Bring the kids up, okay? We're going to do a story and then pray. We're going to pray, right? You're thinking of all this stuff. Have you guys ever been in a situation like that with your Sunday school class where you're like, the kids are looking at you and you forgot everything you ever knew and you're standing there going, ugh. There's 20 kids running around, chaotic, and you feel like you're standing up front naked. And you're like, okay, I got this. We're going to do a song. We're going to do a Bible story. There's a story in here somewhere. If you can't think of anything, of course, you're just going to go to David and Goliath, right? No? Noah. Which one's your favorite? Jesus is the right answer, you guys. Jesus. What I want to share with you today, I think I have this set up. I hit the space bar. It worked. Way to go. No pain, no gain. Your legacy is worth it. So I wanted to start with a very painful experience of mine. You guys probably have had no pain, right? As you serve here in children's ministry, it's been smooth sailing. Yeah. So I thought it'd be fun to have a sports theme. And I thought, I'll tell you one of my painful stories. You want to hear another painful story? I've got so many. I remember the time I'm in a class. I got 20 kids, and one of them's autistic. And he decides to throw the biggest hissy fit known to mankind right there. I'm trying to teach everybody. And he's just like hollering and throwing stuff. Next thing you know, he gets up on the table, and I go over to him, and get this, full spit right in my face. And I was like, at this point you think, take me to heaven right now, Jesus. Somebody else take this class right now. I got to go to the bathroom, but you can't, of course, because there's nobody else. And if you were to say, hey, guys, I got a hard situation in here, nobody's going to come running to your rescue because they don't want to be in that hard situation, right? So what I'm excited about mentioning with you guys today is that children's ministry can be painful. And I think sometimes we like to pretend that it's not. We're like, oh yeah, I love it. And then you get in there, you go down those stairs, the fear starts to rise, those kids start to look you in the eye. Next thing you know, the fear comes, and it's not pretend fear, right? Those 400 cute little brown kids looking at me was not pretend fear. I did not have my plan ready for 400 kids at that moment. And I had to fake it and just teach them something. So this is what I want to do with sports today, is encourage us. Don't lose. If you get knocked down, you'll lose if you stay down. And I thought about all the sports analogies that we have. And even God uses right in the Bible, and Paul, Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross. I know this sounds funny to compare the cross to that classroom downstairs, but why do we have to pretend we're having fun when it hurts? Why do we have to pretend that everything's easy? Well, he scored the shame, sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. He says, look, we're all in this together. We're facing the pain together. So that's what I want to share with you at this point. It's painful. So, okay, I'm going to say this. You probably didn't want to hear this. There's no earthly reason to actually want to teach in children's ministry. I know that sounds funny. You know why? Because it's not easy and it's not glamorous. You don't get, there's no super huge prize. I mean, this is fun, I admit, for breakfast, right? However, it would be easier to sleep in on a Saturday and have a muffin at home. None of us come here because we need the muffin. We come here for other reasons, right? So this is what I want to say. It can be incredibly painful. It is a sacrifice. It is serving the church, and it is serving other parents. So that's what we're doing, and I just want to kind of speak the truth here. So we don't want to avoid the pain. So I like the idea of using the runners. That's why I chose that verse from Hebrews, right? Run the race. Because right with runners, they actually run out in the rain to the point that it hurts physically, right? So the athletes of long distance running, they need gut level tenacity to be able to actually run. So if you think about it, somebody who runs and learns to run a marathon, why do they put themselves through the pain of running, right? Especially in the rain, especially in Oregon, in the cold, especially when we don't have any sunlight. We're heading into the winter, right? Where you have to run in the dark. It's like, okay, why do we do this? Why do they? Well, the best athletes don't avoid the pain. They push into it, and they push past it. So I grabbed this fun presentation that has all these different sports. Because with baseball, right, isn't it the same thing? You have to push into pain. A professional baseball player, if they're going to run to second base, right, they're going to slide. I mean, aren't they going to skin their knee? Aren't they going to? So there's so many ways in sports that we're used to this thought of like, okay, yeah, it's going to hurt, but it's going to be worth it, right? They learn to push past it. Okay, so that's point number one. We're speaking the truth. It can hurt. Point number two, it's needed. Why do we do children's ministry? Because it's needed. So I want to share with you here, Barna is one of our biggest statistic companies for Christian, for the body of Christ in the USA today. And they found that only 10% of young people today are resilient disciples. So why do we work with children's ministry? Because we got some pretty bad statistics today that we're losing our young people. We're losing our children. We're losing 90% of them, which is obviously pretty sad. Okay, so here's a cultural shift going on right now. In the United States, we're experiencing a cultural shift away from Christianity like we've never seen before. This is from Ed Stetzer. And he says, okay, so the group that checks the none box on religious preferences is growing and becoming more influential. When I was young, so I celebrated this year my 50th birthday. When I was younger, right, there was no internet. Life was completely different. But how cool that I get to use the internet to reach the world now. And like yesterday, I spoke in a teacher training event. And there was like 20 countries represented, and I got to speak in Spanish yesterday afternoon. How crazy is that I was in Chile yesterday, and today I'm with you guys in Scappoose, right? So, okay, so this group, if you could see this graph here, it used to be non-Christians and then a great big cultural divide. You see that big blue mark there? And then we had cultural Christians, congregational churches. So like different levels of commitment in the Christian community, but there was a separation between those and the non-Christians. And today it's switching what they're saying for the future. It's switching to where there's a whole bunch of people going, I'm not interested. So we're having a kind of a big, well, you've seen it in politics, right? A lot more fighting, a lot more lack of wanting to stand up for Jesus publicly. So I wanted to show you this picture. So what is a resilient disciple? So this is a cool picture, right? You guys remember years ago this picture of see you at the pole? So Hayden was expecting a bunch of kids to show up at the pole for that annual day at the pole. We're going to pray at the pole. He goes out there and he assumes some people are going to join him. So he thought, I'll just start praying till my friends join. So he's standing there praying. And people are driving by, and some people actually see him and take a picture, and they're like, oh, wow, there's one kid praying at the pole here at this school. Well, at some point he realizes nobody's joined me. And he thought, okay, do I leave? Do I stay? And he switched his praying. Instead of he said, God, would you pray for people that drive by and see me standing here alone? Would you convict them? Would you convict other young people to stand up for their faith? And then his prayers were answered so magnificently because the picture went viral. And then all of a sudden, the whole nation is looking at one young person, Hayden, standing there at the pole praying by himself. And it inspired people all around the U.S. to pick back up this idea of, okay, let's pray together. And young people started going to the pole more because of Hayden standing there by himself. This, I thought, gosh, I want to share this with you guys because it's a picture of what a resilient disciple looks like. And it's what we're facing today is we want to build up the young people that we have here, these children. We don't want them to be like barely, yeah, I know, I believe in God, and that's it. We want to build them up to be like, okay, I believe in Jesus Christ, the Son of God. He saved me, and I'm willing to stand at the pole by myself and pray for others. That's what we're hoping for, right? As resilient disciples. So I just wanted to share that story because that's cool. All right, here's my next question. Which is the child and which is the adult between these two candles here? Yeah, the old wrinkly one. So yeah, right. With a candle, you might naturally think the tall candle is the adult and the short candle is the child. And actually, we often think that way when we look at people when they walk in the door here at Branches. But the tall one is the not spent one, and the short one there is the one who's burned out. No, we're not burned out. Who has the short one are those of us, men and women of God, who have served God faithfully for so many years that our wicks we've got wax everywhere. Praise the Lord. I'm grateful for the time I've given to God and my wax serving God. I hope to run the race till I'm dead and I can go to heaven and go, Lord, I ran my race. My candle started tall, but now I'm down to the bottom. There's nothing left. I gave it all for you, right? So it's just inspiring to think these kids that walk into Branches, they're fresh. They're excited. They actually believe everything you say, right? They walk into that classroom, and this is a brand new candle that's wondering what to do with their life. They're deciding if they're going to follow God or not. And you have the honor of telling them something about God, and they're actually going to believe you. They are going to believe you, which is obviously not as easy up here for the adults. All right, so my first point, right, is that it's painful. And my second point is that it's needed, right? It's needed. And the third is that it works. These are the questions. Does children's ministry work anymore? Sunday school is kind of out of style. Am I really making a difference? Does Sunday school work? What I am doing actually making an impact, right? Why would we come here and suffer downstairs when we'd rather have a muffin and a cup of coffee up here? Because It works. It works. Okay, so 43% have come to Christ before the age of 12. When they did the research, that's literally the biggest outreach we can do is with children before the age of 12. And 3 out of 4 Christians come to faith before the age of 21. So, yeah, it works. It works. Okay, 29% of children who come to Christ list children's ministry as a factor. So, they're hearing about God in children's ministry, and it works. So it may not look the same as it did in the past. You know, I learned with Gospel Light in a printed book, and now we have, different styles. We have different videos, but we're still making a difference, and we're still changing lives. And parents from Scappoose are walking into these doors right here with their precious little kiddos and saying, would you teach them something about God, please? I don't even know how to talk about God at home. And we get to go, oh, sure, yeah, we'll tell them about God. And that is such a huge responsibility, right? For the town of Scappoose. Here we are, this building right here on Highway 30 that's been here forever, right? I was baptized here. I got married here. And these people just get this Holy Spirit just feeling, right? They just go, maybe we should go to church this Sunday. They pull in here and they bring their kiddo in, say, here you go. And then it just lucked out with a rotation, right? Some of you are teaching once a month, right? So you lucked out that was your Sunday, and you happened to be there when that person walked in and said, would you teach my child about God? And that's your honor and delight to represent branches and teach them about God. And this might be the only time they come in. And it's your turn. It was your Sunday. And you're whipping out your thing, and sometimes you've got a kid standing on a table spitting in your face, or you got all sorts of, and you're like, oh no, I'm not ready. And this is where the Holy Spirit falls on you. And you get to actually teach the Word of God to this kid that just came in.